Okay, good day once again. We are now going to learn how to solve quadratic equations using the quadratic formula. So remember that the methods we have already discussed cannot solve all types of quadratic equations. Extracting the square root cannot be used if the quadratic expression has a linear term, except if it is a perfect square trinomial. Factoring method can be used only if the quadratic expression is factorable. Completing the square cannot be used if the quadratic equation has no linear term. But for all types of quadratic equation, it can be solved by the quadratic formula. The last method of solving quadratic equation analytically is by the use of the quadratic formula. The formula is equal to x is equal to negative b plus and minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2 times a, where a is not equal to 0. Let us watch closely how it is used.
Okay, so now we are going to solve for 7x squared minus 6x minus 16 is equal to 0. So this time we are going to use the quadratic formula. So ang first step natin is to make sure that the quadratic equation is in standard form. So since nasa standard form na yung quadratic equation natin, we can now identify the value of our a, b, and c. So, the value of our a in the equation is 7. B is negative 6. And our c is negative 16. So, next is for us to substitute these values of a, b, and c in our quadratic formula. So, ang quadratic formula natin is x is equal to negative b plus and minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So, papalitan natin lahat ng values ng a, b, and c dun sa formula natin. So, copy natin yung negative. Palitan natin si b ng negative 6. Copy plus and minus sign. Okay, then square root of b squared. So, ang b natin is negative 6 squared. Minus 4. Copy minus 4. Then, palitan ulit natin si a ng 7 at si c ng negative 16. Okay, then divide all of them by 2a. Our a is 7. Okay, so simplify natin. Negative times negative 6 is positive 6. Plus and minus the square root of negative 6 squared is 36. Then, negative 4 times 7 is negative 28 times negative 16. So, we have positive 448. Okay, then divide by 2 times 7, which is 14. Okay, simplifying further, we have to bring down 6 plus and minus. Square root of 36 plus 448 is 484. So, divide by 14. Okay, so next, we have 6 plus and minus square root of 484 is, how many? We have 22 over 14. Okay, so, paghiwalayin natin yung double sign for us to get the values of x. So, yung una is 6 plus 22 divide by 14. The other one is 6 minus 22 divide by 14. Okay? So, 6 plus 22 is ilan? 28. divide by 14, so we can reduce that to 2. Okay, 28 divided by 14 is 2. While 6 minus 22, we have negative 16 over 14. Then, simplify natin yan since the GCF is 2. So, therefore, we have negative 8 over 7. So, etong dalawang to, 2 and negative 8 over 7 is our roots or the solve value for x. So, i-check natin kung meron ba tayong extraneous solution or if they are both real solutions or real roots. So, sa checking, kailangan yung original equation ang gagamitin natin. So, let us have if x is equal to 2. Yung unang na-solve natin na value ng x. So, we are going to replace 2 to all the x's. So, we have 7 times 2 squared minus 6 times 2 minus 16. Is it equal to 0? So, we have 7. 2 squared is 4. Negative 6 times 2 is negative 12 minus 16. Is it equal to 0? So, we have 7 times 4 is 28 minus 12 minus 16. So, 28 minus 12 is 16 minus 16. So, therefore, 0 is equal to 0. So, that means 2 is a real solution. Next, let us have if x is equal to negative 8 over 7. So, we have 7 times negative 8 over 7 squared. Okay. Minus 6 times negative 8 over 7 minus 16. Is it equal to 0? So, 7 times negative 8 square over 7. So, therefore, we have 64 over 7. Okay. Then negative 6 times negative 8 over 7. So, that is positive 48 over 7. So, minus 16. Is it equal to 0? Okay. So, next. 64 over 7 plus 48 over 7. So, that is 122. Tama ba? You have 8 plus 4 is 12, carry 1. So, 112 pala. Sorry. 8. 4 plus 8 is 12, carry 1. So, you have 112 over 7 minus 16. Is it equal to 0? Tama? So, 112 over 7 is actually 16. Pwede natin kasi siyang i-reduce. So, 16 minus 16 is tama? 16 minus 16 is 0. So, therefore, negative 8 over 7 is also a real solution or a real root. So, that means both of our roots are real solutions. Okay? Okay, so let us have n squared plus 3n is equal to 10. So, kailangan ito gawin nating standard form. So, we have n squared plus 3n. So, transpose natin si negative 10. So, si positive 10. Kaya siya magiging negative 10. Okay? So, that makes our A equal to 1. B is 3. And C is negative 10. Okay? So, gamitan natin ng quadratic formula. So, we have negative b. Ano yung b natin? 3. Okay? Then, plus and minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a, yung a natin is 1, times c, which is negative 10. Divide by 2 times a. So, simplify natin. Negative times positive 3 is negative 3. Plus and minus the square root of 3 squared, so you have 9. Negative 4 times 1 is negative 4 times negative 10, so we have positive 40 over 2. Okay, so we have negative 3 plus and minus 9 plus 40 is 49. So you have square root of 49 over 2. So, the square root of 49 is 7. So, therefore, we have negative 3 plus and minus 7 over 2. So, solve natin yung x. So, our first x would be negative 3 plus 7 divided by 2. So, that is negative 3 plus 7 is positive 4. Divide by 2, so you have 2. For our second x, so we have negative 3 plus 7 over 2. Sorry, this must be negative. Negative 7. So, negative 3 minus 7 is negative 10. Divide by 2. Negative 10 divided by 2 is negative 5. So, therefore, we have 2 and negative 5 as the values of our x. So, i-check natin kung both n, 2, and negative 5 are real solutions. Okay? So, i-substitute natin yung mga values dun sa original equation. So, let us first have if n is 2. So, therefore, you have 2 squared plus 3n. So, 3 times 2. Is it equal to 10? So, 2 squared is 4. Then, 3 times 2 is positive 6. So, 4 plus 6 is 10. It is equal to the right side, which is 10. So, that means 2 is a real solution. Next, if x, or if n rather, is negative 5. So, we are going to replace n by negative 5. So, question mark n. So, negative 5 squared is positive 25. This must be 10, sorry. Then, positive 3 times negative 5 is negative 15. So, is it equal to 10? So, 25 minus 15 is 10. So, that is equal to 10. So, therefore, we can say that we have two real roots. We have 2 and negative 5. Okay?
Okay, so let us remember the steps in using quadratic formula. So first, we transform the quadratic equation in standard form if necessary and get the values of a, b, and c. Then write the quadratic formula. And then we substitute the values of a, b, and c in the formula. Then simplify, verify, and do the checking of the roots or solutions. Remember that in checking for the roots or solutions, we are going to use, or we make use of, the original equation. Okay, so let us take another examples. So first, we have 3x squared is equal to 2 times 5x plus 4. So we need to change this and transform that into standard form. So therefore, we have 3x squared is equal to 10x plus 8. We transpose the terms at the right side to the left, changing the signs, of course. So we have 3x squared minus 10x minus 8 is equal to 0. Then we can now identify the values of a, b, and c, which are a is equal to 3, b is negative 10, and c is equal to negative 8. We substitute then the values to the original equation, to the quadratic equation rather. So therefore, we have negative of b, which is negative 10, plus and minus the square root of negative 10 squared minus 4 times 3 times negative 8 all over 2 times 3. So take note, we replace the values of a, b, and c by the known values. Then we simplify. So we have positive 10 plus and minus the square root of 100 plus 96 over 6. Simplifying further, we have 10 plus and minus 14 over 6. So next is for us to separate the double sign for us to solve for the value of x. So the first value of x, we are going to take into consideration the plus sign, then followed by the negative sign. So x of 1 is 10 plus 14, divide by 6. So that is 24 over 6. So therefore, we have 4. Next, for x of 2, we have 10 minus 14 over 6. So that is negative 4 over 6. Since negative 4 over 6 can be reduced into simplest form, therefore, we have negative 2/3. Okay? So the roots are 4 and negative 2/3. Next, we have these two examples. X squared plus 3x minus 10 is equal to 0, and 7x squared minus 6x minus 16 is equal to 0. Okay, so first step, let us first have number 2. To identify the values of a, b, and c. So therefore, a is 1, b is 3, c is negative 10. Then, we substitute these values to the quadratic formula. Therefore, we have negative 3 plus and minus the square root of 3 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 10 all over 2 times 1. So simplifying further, we have x is equal to negative 3 plus and minus 7 over 2. Then we are going to separate the double sign, forming linear equations which would represent the first value of x and second value of x. So for the first value of x, we have negative 3 plus 7 over 2. So negative 3 plus 7 is 4 divided by 2. So therefore, we have 2. That is our first value for x. For the second value of x, we have negative 3 minus 7 over 2. So negative 3 minus 7 is negative 10 over 2. So we have negative 5. So therefore, the roots are negative 5 and positive 2. Number 3. We have 7x squared minus 6x minus 16 is equal to 0. So we have the values of a, b, and c, which are 7, negative 6, and negative 16 respectively. So we substitute these values to the formula. So therefore, we have negative times negative 6 plus and minus the square root of negative 6 squared minus 4 times 7 times negative 16 all over 2 times 7. So simplifying further, we have excuse me. We have 6 plus and minus 22 over 14. So again, we separate the double signs, forming two linear equations. 6 plus 22 over 14. So that is 28 over 14. So we have 2 as the first value of x. While the second linear equation would be 6 minus 22 over 14. So that would be negative 16 over 14. So simplify, we have negative 8 over 7, which is our second root. Okay? So, get your papers and pen ready and answer the following activity. So, use quadratic formula in solving for the roots of the following. Okay, so while you are solving for the roots of this formula, you may pause for this video, then proceed after you answer to check, of course, your answers. Okay, so for number 1, let us check your answer. Y squared plus 5y plus 54 is equal to 0. Do we have real roots? We have no real root. Okay. For number 2, do we have real roots? Yes, we have. We have the roots which are equal to 3 over 2 and positive 4. How about number 3? What is your answer? Correct. We have negative 5 minus square root of 13 over 2 and negative 5 plus the square root of 13 over 2. How about number 4? Yes, just like in number 1, there is no real root. For number 5, we have, yes, we have y is equal to negative 1 minus the square root of 46 over 9 and negative 1 plus the square root of 46 over 9. Okay, so I hope you got all the roots correctly. And that ends our lesson for today. For the lesson handouts, kindly visit again our webpage. Thank you and God bless. See you next time.